Hi, Gabriella. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm doing good, thank you.
Lovely to have you here with us today. Welcome to NFT. We are here to have a discussion, basically meeting the people behind the profiles. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whereabouts are you based at the minute?
I am based in Milan at the moment, so yeah, it's morning still. No, it's 2 p.m., so it's not morning anymore.
Nice.
But
It's
yeah,
good morning
I'm based.
everywhere somewhere.
Exactly, it's always a GM somewhere, and yeah, I'm based in Milan.
Cool, that's amazing. And so you based there for work? Is that where you're from, or have you travelled quite a bit for you?
Yeah, so I'm Italian. I'm from Milan. So yes, I'm born and raised here. But our company is Brandverse, and it's based in Germany, in Berlin. So I travel a lot between Italy and Germany. And recently we are traveling a lot all over Europe for conferences and meet other people, find out the face behind the profile pictures, and talk with them in real life.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And how is the team? Speaking of brand verse.
Well, we have a very good team, like the founding team. Let's say the four founders of Brandverse. Three of them live in Milan, one live in Germany. Even if we are gonna move all there soon, we have me and Create State. We are like the business side of Brandverse, let's say. So we have the experience in e-commerce and branding, in building products, physical and digital, and all the knowledge about the NFT space, let's say, and the Web3 in general. Then we have Stefano Baldo, which is our designer, our 3D designer, 10 years of experience with Udemy and a lot of projects he worked on. He's a very skilled guy. And then we have our creative director. So when you see those cool videos on Twitter or when you see the watch classes, that's the mind behind them. He's
The
Russian, but
disruptor.
lives in Milan. That is Raptor is the last one, yeah, correct.
I know
And there is
everyone
a
uses
whole
it.
story behind every class. Like Ivan came up with a whole lore behind each class, and there is a lore also that connect all the class together. No one know about it, so
Alpha, speaking of that,
yeah.
let's lead into it. What is something, Gabriella, that you know that maybe we don't know? Any sort of information that you can leak, brain fart, if you will?
Well, what I can say is that there is way more thinking probably behind all the development of the classes, like I said, and the watches in the metaverse than anyone can think of, let's say. So we work in this way, and we took example from a lot of very good collections and very good projects like Flafford. We are not ever gonna say anything until it's done. Uh, so when we announce something is when it's done. Not too many alpha, but yeah, I can tell you that there is a lot of thinking behind why a watch and behind each class and each lore behind them. So you will find
Adding
out.
another story for us to follow. I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
Cool. And so a little bit about yourself. You mentioned Fluff World. Whereabouts did you get into NFTs and cryptocurrencies? How does your story begin? And obviously, it's still being written.
It's a very funny story actually. I was working in a company. I was doing e-commerce, and I was following all the operation side of my clients. My clients were entrepreneurs. They were launching brands, Web2 space. It was. They were launching brands there, and I was helping them finding the supplier, customizing the products, packaging, logistic operations, and also everything related with branding and go-to-market strategy. And 2 years ago in that company, I hired Karim in my team. He started working with me. Best person I could hire ever, I could say. Super hardworking, super hardworking guy, and he is the one that introduced me to NFTs. So I was like, yeah, I was trading crypto before, but for me it was just like something fun to do. I never invested a lot of money. My background is not in finance or related, and I never felt I had the skills to be like a real trader of crypto. So I knew the space, I knew what was going on, but I never invested so much money. Everything changed the first time that I've seen NFT. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
sorry.
So did you say, so you started with NFTs or did you start with cryptocurrencies and then with,
So with cryptocurrencies, I just traded very low amount and just played with it. It was just more a game to do, a small hobby than something real. It became real when I started with NFTs. So I discovered NFTs. Yeah, I discovered them long time ago, let's say. But when I started really trading them is when Karim in May explained me more about them and showed me his Bored Ape, because he was a Bored Ape owner at the beginning, and he showed me more collections. It made me understand like the process, the value of the community, and the Web3 culture in general. That's what I fall in love with that, not with an NFT project or the money that you can make, but with the culture behind it. That was the best. And Flufford probably has been the first big collection in which I went in, and I really felt part of an amazing community. So Flufford will always be in my heart. Yeah.
Mine too. I think we're both on the same page. That was my first investment. My brother messaged me basically and said, there's this fluffy bunny going for this amount of money. I was like, is this a scam? And he explained it to me a little bit more. Obviously, you hesitantly buy in to your first NFT, I think, and you can either learn the hard way or the easy way. But I was very lucky. I learned the easy way with Fluff. We've just kind of kept growing with that community there.
I totally agree. Yeah, I see that there are a lot of different approaches to NFT, from the flippers to the long-term holders and whatever. And I think that whoever entered the space with Flufford learned the importance of the community.
Those boys are amazing there. They've covered all their bases, that's for sure, and girls, apologies. So that's cool. So you jumped into the cryptocurrencies by yourself, had a play, and then obviously got recruited from your top students. So that's very interesting to hear. Thank you for sharing. And speaking of your mindset seems to be quite in line with, the boys behind Brandverse. You're all very well articulated. You've got a great way of, I would say, leaking. It's not so leaky, but leaking your information. I mean, you've obviously got a very strong marketing background yourself. And how do you find that kind of helps you with your day-to-day trading and your personal profile?
Well, I can say that my background in let's say marketing and branding helped me a lot when I started into NFTs to understand really how they were communicating. So first of all, the skills of the team that was handling like the marketing, which is like a fundamental part in NFT, because for sure utilities are important, but how you communicate this utility and the value that you bring to this utility comes a lot from the communication skills that you have and the marketing skills that you have. So it was easy for me, let's say, to understand all the rug pull projects before they came out and to not buy them. As a collector, let's say that I studied a lot, just a few projects, but very long time. That was my approach, and study really the team and the marketing that we were doing was very important. There is this misconception about the numbers that you see on Twitter or on Discord about projects, and now it's changing. But when I started, it was all about how many followers a project have or how many people on Discord this project have. And I personally minted a project with 100K people on Discord and more than 100K followers on Twitter, and it went to zero in a week or two. And then I find out that if you look at the followers, that makes a total difference. Like I always suggest, open the followers, look at what they are, look at their profile picture, click on some, and see if they are real, but also who they are. Because as you said, like a Fluff or a person that has like already zoning this kind of collections, understand the value. They will be holders, they will stay with you. So quality over quantity, let's say, is my approach on the marketing side.
100%, I love that. I think when the old 50 Cent, Bow Wow, who else was it? There was an influx of that was January time. It was just crazy. We had a couple of rugs, unfortunately, but that was the name of the game. So I learnt my lesson from those. Just don't follow necessarily where the hype flows. There's healthy hype and there's also rug hype. So great piece of advice.
Everyone had at least one rug. So that's part of the game.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just the one that's the hope. Yeah. Now thinking forward, we're looking at, Fluff's coming together with an open, inclusive metaverse manifesto, which personally I've already signed. I completely love the idea that the boys are promoting a safe, healthy, you could say, path to achieving an open, inclusive metaverse. It's still very early days in my opinion. I mean, when you look at the Unreal 5 infrastructure, the first piece that we're actually going to see will be on JPunks. So Brandverse, for people that don't know, have a beautiful watch. I won't say any more. Check out their Discord, make sure that you link up with all the boys. But the first piece of Unreal 5, bar the Burrows, the first wearable that I'm going to be able to physically see will be on this Unreal 5 JPunk. So something really cool to look forward to there. But how do you see the space evolving?
Okay, I'm gonna answer before just you spoke about JPunk, so I wanted just to add. I don't know when people are gonna see this video, but JPunk was our first partnership, but there is another one, and in one of our material you might see something. So you might see another very famous collection that is maybe partnering up with us.
Oh, I think I know.
You should. You see. Yeah, someone guessed, but not many people know it yet. So I mean, yeah, our Ivan, our creative director, loves to put Easter eggs in every video. So I just suggest everyone, when there is a video, watch it 2-3 times, because there is always something hidden, and knowing it first is the right thing to do in the NFT space.
Well, that's something no one knows. So thank you for sharing that one. So that's a little Easter egg there for everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, going back on your point, it's a very good question, I think. And like you said, Flufford, obviously, as an amazing team, Aaron McDonald's are just next level entrepreneurs. And as we said when we joke internally, what is the best way to buy NFTs? We say just follow what Aaron McDonald tell you to do, and you'll be successful. Honestly, it's easy, but that's how we think it works. So we can't not be aligned with their view. We totally agree that the metaverse should be open, and we believe that the concept of open metaverse is simply based on interoperability. That means that give the possibility to a user to bring his own asset, own them. So you own your asset and you bring them in different meta world experience games, call them as you want. But in this case, it's things that you own and that you can bring in a lot of different games and experiences. Like you said, it's very, very early. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know that there are two views, let's say. There is the view of, let's say, a closed metaverse, meta style, like Zuckerberg wants, and for sure that kind of metaverse is developed by one company and can be developed very quickly, let's say, because it's one company that needs to do it. But you will never be able to generate a whole economy and a community of real people inside a closed metaverse. You need an open metaverse to generate this. And that means that on the long term, it's a totally different thing to make an open metaverse. I think that there are many teams that are working together on it. I believe that Unreal Engine for the graphic is very good, but there can be also Unity, for example. And I believe that now we are in a stage in which we are developing the standards. So, we need to know and to use the same standards in order to develop assets that can be really interoperable between each other. Once we get there, then a lot of people working to the open metaverse, it can grow very, very fast. So sure, yes, at this point, we are at point zero. But I think that once we put the base for it, then that it can go fast. It can go very fast. On our side, obviously, as you said, we put the watch on the JPunk, so that's Unreal Engine, and basically the coolest thing is not even that we put it on the JPunk, but that when we started working, we made sure that the way in which we design our collection can be edited very quickly. This means that if we have to put the watches on a different avatar, in not even a day, we are ready to have every asset in Unreal Engine on that new avatar.
I mean, even just thinking about it in my own head, I'm struggling. So how the boys are actually going to, boys and girls, but when I mean the community is going to actually put it together is going to be mind-blowing with the the watches, and you've seen the ATM car clubs sneak peek, you've seen Seekers with their little eggs, you've seen, all these little lures that it's really starting to feel like, as much as people are frustrated at the minute, it is coming together, and good things take time. I guess you can't, nothing good comes easy. There's all those old classical sayings that you can say, but it is true. It's a massive task that we've all kind of committed to achieving out here, and even just being a part of it, I think for me it's game changer. So I'm just happy to be here and happy to be watching everyone and the creative juices that are flowing. And in terms of yourself, Gabriella, how do you see yourself sitting in a year's time? Where would you ideally like to be?
Well, I mean, I hope that there is gonna be this open metaverse finally. So I hope that the Web3 culture will stay there and will just keep the fundamental as it is now, because that's like the main goal for everyone, I think. And what I want to do is really to bring this value with me and try to get everyone on the same page, because that's like the most important thing, I think, is now really to focus on this and not make the space change. There are a lot of money and big companies entering, so keeping this value is going to be fundamental. Where I do see myself, it's really an hard question for me, and every time I have a job interview, I get this question asked, and I changed a lot of jobs because I get bored very easily. If you asked me 1 year ago, do you see yourself building wearables for the metaverse next year? I would not answer like that. So it's very hard now to see. Anything is possible, and I think that this is the best thing of this space. Anything is possible, and we are just scratching the surface now. Even NFTs have a huge potential for a lot of things in the real world, a lot of utilities in the real world. I was in Paris. There was a manager from Ledger speaking, and it was mind-blowing, explaining how NFTs can be applied to driving license or to the COVID test, for example. You can NFTize everything in the real world and also in the metaverse. Imagine that every asset you own, it's basically an NFT.
I think when you look at it, the whole point of the space, is we're trying to all own our assets, and technology is surrounding us, whether we like it or not. The world is evolving. Every single child has a tablet in their hand, and look at us with our phones. We're prioritizing them 99.9% of the time over real world connections. So I guess we just have to kind of wake up to the truth. Is the future is always growing, it's always changing, but crypto and this way of life and the metaverse and the Web3 is inevitable, and unless the government step in and put some heavy restrictions on it. But at this point we've seen a guidance towards the safest possible space than shutting it down straight away. So there's a lot of backing, supporting the cause, I guess you could call it. Unbelievable. That's a whole nother conversation for sure.
Yeah.
That's an hour-long interview on that one. But thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me today, Gabrielle. And if anyone would like to jump on, Brandverse links will be posted below the video once we have this all set in stone, and I'll make a link to Twitter profiles and all the rest of it. But if you have one piece of advice for new, old, even just people looking at the space, Gabrielle, what would you have for them?
If you're super new in this space, the first thing that you're going to feel, or that I felt, is a lot of FOMO when you see a new project that is coming out and you want to jump and mint everything. My suggestion is keep calm and study. Focus on a few projects and study deeply those ones before jumping in. That's the main thing to do when you start. And buy something that you like. Yeah, and don't just look at the economical value, not just economical value. Buy a project that you like, that has a values that represent yourself and utilities that you find useful.
I mean, quick touch up on that. I think people look at the rarity of a token so heavily, and you can take rarity into consideration, but when you really look at it, you're going to be having this piece in your wallet, looking at it 99.9% of the time. It has to be something that talks to you, and it has to be something that you feel aligns with your personality. So as much as there's an influx of everything and there is so much to learn, the best you can build yourself, the foundations, I think, determines the success of your portfolio moving forward.
Yeah, I totally agree.
For sure. Well, any last words before we go? Thank you so much. Looking forward to the video, and we've got our minting of our J-Punks in a couple of hours. So
exactly.
Hopefully you have a lovely day and keep well. We'll definitely be in touch on Discords and all the rest of it.
For sure, let's keep in touch and have a great day. Thanks, everyone.